So today I'm going to start a series of videos explaining certain aspects of simulation wrestling that'll hopefully help you learn faster and help you make better decisions in matches. I think this might be the best way of me going about it instead of just uploading a long ass video talking about different subjects, but I guess we'll find that out in the long run. So today I want to talk about submissions, or rest holds if you will. Because the game is designed and made the way that it is, you can't really use submissions or rest holds the way that you would really want to use them, the way that they're used in real wrestling. So to compensate for that, you have to use your brain. You have to use your knowledge of wrestling to know when to lock in a submission, how long to keep it in for, things of that nature. So normally, submissions or rest holds are applied, I would say, a little after the opening segments of the match. I would say maybe a minute into the match, depending on the pace. If you start really fast, I would say a good 60 seconds would be a good time to apply a submission or a rest hold to slow the match down. And it's important to know that when you do lock in a submission and when submissions and rest holds are locked in, they're milked. And they're also milked depending on the time that it's locked in. So let's say I lock in a side headlock and it's 60 seconds into the match. We would want to keep that headlock locked in for, let's say, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 seconds. Now, where it becomes tricky is breaking out of the submission. Sometimes people assume that when you lock in a submission, that means that they're giving you control, but that's not always the case. If I lock in a submission 60 seconds into the match, normally it would be the side headlock takeover into the Anaconda Vice, because that's the only thing that looks like a side headlock takeover and a headlock locked in. If I do that 60 seconds into the match and I give you 10 to 15 seconds inside of that hold, normally what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do it again. And it catches people off guard because so many people believe that after they break out of a submission, that is their chance to go back on offense. Or some people think that, okay, now they want to try and do the same thing. Sometimes it's not always good to go back and forth. Sometimes it's better to just trust the person, to let them do what they do, and trust them enough to know that they're going to give you back. And let's say the match progressed further. Let's say we're maybe 5 minutes into the match and I lock in a rest hold. Let's say a dragon sleeper. That is going to be milked for maybe 25 to even 30 seconds. Maybe even a whole minute. And a good way to know whether or not your opponent wants you to go on offense is after you break out of the submission, just wait. Just look at their body language and wait to see what they do. If you get close enough to them to where they're not attacking you, then I guess they want you to go back on offense. But if they immediately try to grab for you, just let it go. Don't try and grab for them because it's just going to go into that animation of the front face lock battle thingamabob. Now let's say you're 10 minutes into a match. You're at the peak. The match is getting ready to be over. 10 minutes is a long enough time. And you, me, or whoever locks in a submission. It is very essential, it's very important to sell that you might tap out to that move. Whatever move it is, even if it's not that person's finisher, make it look like you can possibly tap out to it. Because the people watching can see that freaking bar, that big dumbass breaking point bar. People can see that. And it's not very believable if you guys are going back and forth, tapping the buttons, and the red bar is all the way on the left side. Like, it's not believable. Make it look as if you're going to tap out. And when you're crawling to the ropes for those submissions that allow you to, don't just dash to the freaking ropes. Like, sit there for a while. Make it look as if you're tired. You got tired, or you might have passed out. You might want to crawl and then stop and hold it there for a while and start back crawling again and then stop. Make it look like a struggle. Don't just scamper to the ropes. It's very important to put over that submission for that person, to make it look good, to make them look good. And doing that 10 minutes into the match, that's normally saying, okay, after you break out of that, come back and end the match. Very simple. And what you don't ever want to do, this is very important, do not ever break a submission because you feel like the other person isn't trying to get out of it. Don't do that. That just ruins everything. If you notice the person isn't tapping, then keep tapping the frickin' button. Don't just let it go. If you let it go, make sure you go into another submission. Because sometimes people might break a submission and then put it back in again. Or break a submission and apply another submission. Do that. Don't just break the submission and go off and doing other shit. Just don't do that. That's stupid. But anyway, I hope that was helpful for people who were struggling with submissions, don't really know what to do with them. And the next video I'm going to do will be on opening sequences, because I look around the community and I see matches, excuse me, and 9 times out of 10 people start the match the same way. And I want to see a mixture of things. But that's another topic for another day, and I'll see you guys next time.